Okay, so this is a quick note about the use of art and art history and your artist skills if you have any, especially in terms of composition. So this is from the Getty Institute. I'm going to provide links for various things. You can also have a look in the wiki for public domain image resources. And what do we want to point out about this, apart from the use of animals, people, which one that is? Possibly do with some water, maybe, I don't know. But what I find interesting about this one is the mountains. It's easy to over detail mountains and try and be too clever, but if you have a look at this one, it really is just a bit of white snow on top of various greys and browns leading down, and then at a certain point it starts getting into greens, and you also have the pathways as well. So looking through art is quite useful in terms of composition and inspiration when you're making forest scenes. And another one would be The Joy of Painting, Bob Ross. You can catch a lot of his things on Twitch in art and also on YouTube. And also the guy, his mentor, I forget his name, but in fact I'll bring it up. So I mean, I love Bob Ross, and especially his mountains and his compositions and everything. And technique, there we go. It's called Wet on Wet, but there's a special Italian name for it. It's not called Premier Coup. Alla Prima, that's it, I think. First attempt. And let's find out who his mentor is. Bill Alexander. German painter, that's right. So if we bring up just a little bit of Bill Alexander on YouTube. So Willem Alexander Art, the home of Bill Alexander, and just the kind of fluffy clouds with reflections with the mountains in the background with just a hint of snow on top of rock. I just find it very compelling. And he wrote Magic Art series. So we can again just this white on white. That's more of a different composition. There we go, To the Summit. Crazy dude that inspired Bob Ross. And again, you've got the light shining onto the mountain, so you've got just a little bit of you've got light that you can get from the Voland rendering in Unity. We've got cold blue on the snow and various shades of grey. And getting realistic mountains takes time and effort. And then we've got, so this was called To the Summit, another one, 3 Peak Splendour, and I think that looks amazing. We've got the sweep of the snow, and as well as the shading. But one of the things that we may have to think about, and the mist as well, one of the things we need to think about is perhaps the CTS or a snow shader that you use to whack on top of the mountain. So you just create the mountain with various kind of levels of stone. Then you need a snow, kind of light dusting of snow on top. Anyway, just some thoughts on using art. If we go back to public domain images, and so we're a bit more. So going for the royalty free or the public domain art, I think is interesting. So you can do a collection search for something like Alps or Alaska. See what they come up with. Wooded river landscape. The colours of the blue are lovely. Don't see much in the detail, but that shows out fog. The importance of having perhaps a sphere of fog or something that follows you around. Might be an idea. On the first person control, just have a huge sphere of translucent fog. What else have we got? Bits of note, colours of the trees, colours of the rock and the terrain blending together, so you've got kind of like a rocks leading into the grass, and how much of it would be textured and how much of it is just additional foliage on top, and how dense the foliage is. Just looking for inspiration, perhaps textures, and how, you know, it's not always snow on the top, it's sometimes the glacier cutting through because the snow falls off the tops. There's tips of snow and then it points out. So the reason I'm going on about this is to try and sell the illusion that your mountains are cool and real. And you can have green mountains. These are just going to be compositions again, so I'd rather see coloured ones if I could. But how about if we search for can we do that? There we go. It's not bad. Yeah, that's great. Collection search, there we go. Let's put in Alaska, see what we get. So Alps and the Alaska seem probably have got, and also you can do a Google search as well. So we've got these are rolling green hills into the river. Again, that's not really needed some colour photos if we can find any. Yeah, there we go. Got the snow. How harsh it all looks now. You've got proper snow lying flat on the ground with kind of pathways of snow. So yeah, public domain images, something to think about looking at for inspiration, as well as Bob Ross on Twitch and on YouTube, and Bill Alexander, the inspiration for Bob Ross, and Constable, Turner. So many. There's so much inspiration to be found from looking at artists, and it's definitely something to consider.